Hey everybody, Professor Moore here, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite directors, Raoul Peck. Peck was born in Haiti in 1953 and served as the Minister of Culture in the 1990s, and it was around this time that he began his career as a filmmaker. It would be hard to find a director with a more impressive filmography, and I want to highlight 4 of his films that I think everyone should try to see. These are the kind of films that educate you, inspire you, and force you to look at the world in a different light. The first film is Sometimes in April, released in 2005, that depicts the Rwandan genocide. This film stars Idris Elba in one of his first major roles after appearing in The Wire. You might be familiar with the 2004 film Hotel Rwanda, but I believe that Sometimes in April is a more powerful and impactful meditation on this topic. The film shows the brutal reality of how the Hutus massacred nearly 1 million Tutsis in Rwanda over a 100-day period in 1994. And this film includes some of the most harrowing and horrifying scenes you can possibly imagine. It's essential to have films like this because this is such an important event to study and remember. For example, when we study the Rwandan genocide, we learn that the Israelis actually provided some of the weapons that the Hutus used in their massacre. In his book, The Palestine Laboratory, Anthony Lowenstein tells us that the Hutus utilized Israeli Uzi submachine guns and hand grenades in their violent rampage. At the time when Israel's environmental minister was asked about Israel supporting the Hutu-led massacre, he said, "We have no control over where our weapons go." Any filmmaker who is brave enough to tackle this history of violence deserves respect and recognition. The second film I want to recommend is The Young Karl Marx, released in 2017. When this film came out, I was shocked to see a director brave enough to make a full-length film about Karl Marx. And not only that, but a film that focuses on the relationship between Marx and Engels and the lead up to the publication of the Communist Manifesto in 1848. There are so few films that provide an honest depiction of Marx or Marxism that the few that do exist are precious. In fact, I can only think of one other major film that provides an accurate and sympathetic portrayal of communism, and that is the 1981 film Reds, directed by Warren Beatty, which I also highly recommend. The Communist Manifesto is without a doubt one of the most important documents ever written, so to have a film that explores how it came to be is amazing. With so much anti-communist propaganda in America, it's helpful to have films like this that show the true history of Marxism, instead of the stereotypes that were created during the Red Scare and the Cold War. This film shows that Marx and Engels were not monsters, but men who dedicated their lives to build a better world for the working class that was being brutally abused and exploited during the Industrial Revolution. The third film is the documentary I Am Not Your Negro, released in 2016. This film is based on an unfinished manuscript by James Baldwin that discusses his relationship with civil rights icons like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. I would recommend any film that focuses on James Baldwin because he is one of the most important intellectuals in American history. If you've never read anything written by Baldwin, you are truly missing out. My favorite of his works is The Fire Next Time. I would also recommend any film that deals with Malcolm X, and I would highly recommend reading his autobiography and watching Spike Lee's 1992 film Malcolm X, starring Denzel Washington in one of his best performances. The fourth film is a documentary series titled Exterminate All the Brutes, and this is probably my favorite work that Peck has ever done. There is simply no other documentary like this. To start with, the film is inspired by some amazing books, including An Indigenous People's History of the United States by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. This 4-part series focuses on the topics of colonization and genocide, and shows the disturbing connections between the racism and violence of the Third Reich and earlier American and European imperialism. This series covers such a wide range of important topics, such as the genocide of indigenous people, the Atlantic slave trade, imperialism in Africa, and the Holocaust. Plus, if you're a fan of Josh Hartnett, you'll see him in a unique role starring as the internal embodiment of white supremacy. Whenever you watch a film directed by Raoul Peck, you're going to walk away knowing more about history and looking at the world in a different way. Can you name another director who's made films on such diverse topics as the Rwandan genocide, Karl Marx, James Baldwin, and European imperialism and fascism? This guy simply does not miss. Peck's films will make you feel so many different emotions. Sometimes in April made me cry. The Young Karl Marx filled me with inspiration and joy. I Am Not Your Negro made me think and want to read more books written by black authors. Exterminate All the Brutes made me want to scream at the inhumanity and violence that built the modern world and continues even now as I'm speaking. That's what good films do. They make you feel something. Whether it's sadness, happiness, anger, euphoria, they make you feel closer to humanity. They make you feel alive. These are not easy films to watch, but good art is not supposed to be easy. These films are not like watching a Marvel movie or a Netflix rom-com. Not saying that there's anything wrong with those, but these films will change you, and that is the power of true art. Currently, you can watch Sometimes in April and Exterminate All the Brutes on Max. You can watch The Young Karl Marx for free on the Internet Archive, or you can rent it for $3 on Amazon Prime. And you can watch I Am Not Your Negro on Hulu or for free on Tubi. Trust me, you will not regret watching these movies. They are going to make you want more.